Welcome back to How Not to Play Like Will Wheaton. This week, we'll be reviewing strategy for a game that's very near and dear to my heart. In fact, I'd say it's the one game that I can blame my board game addiction on. That is Settlers of Catan. Settlers is a game that is often won or lost before the dice are even rolled. The placement of those first two settlements often decides who battles for the lead and who brings up the rear. Now, you might think it's difficult, considering that the tiles are placed randomly at the beginning of each game. But really, it doesn't matter where the tiles fall. What really matters is the numbers, and the numbers are not random. They're placed alphabetically around the board every game, and that is what matters most. First of all, do not look at any spot that is on the outside border. While it might be extremely tempting to start out with a port, the potential loss of resources by only bordering at most 2 hexes almost never pays off. Next, look for spots where the 5 dot numbers, i.e. 6 and 8, are next to any 4 dot numbers, i.e. 5 or 9. These are the hottest spots, and you want to pick one of these spots if at all possible. The ideal goal would be to pick 2 spots that cover all the numbers between 4 and 10. Of course, with everyone else placing, this is usually impossible. In that case, pick up as many numbers as you can, and build roads towards the number or numbers you're missing. If by some miracle of board placement, the 6, 5, or 9 location is available, always take that, no matter what hexes are under it. Now that the settlements have in place, look and see what tiles are available to you. There are 2 major strategies depending on what resources are readily available. If you find yourself with more lumber and brick, I recommend going the road and the settlement route. This means work on extending your road and using additional settlements to gather more resources. You want to make sure that you pick up the numbers that you don't currently have so that you're pretty much guaranteed resources no matter what number comes up. On the other hand, if you find yourself with more grain and ore, I recommend, very first thing, buying a development card. Now, at this stage of the game, there's probably about a 50% chance that that development card will be a soldier. And that's okay, because that's exactly what you want. A face-down soldier at this point in the game is likely to keep the robber off of you, and that is crucial for this strategy. If you're having your ore or grain shut down this early in the game is crippling. After you buy that development card, I recommend you upgrade one of your settlements to a city. One last piece of advice I have to give you is how to use the robber effectively. This little guy always causes the most strife in any Settlers game, because the targeted player almost always chooses to put it back on their attacker the next time they get to move it, even if it makes absolutely no sense to do so. Because of this, it always makes more sense to attack one player, because revenge from one person is much better than revenge from 2 or 3. At the end of the game, it's easy to decide who to put it on. You simply put it on the player who has the most points. And in the case of a tie, you put it on the person who thinks is going to score next. But in the beginning and the middle of the game, it might not be that easy, because there might not be a clear leader. In this case, the most effective person to put it on is the person to your right. This guarantees at least one die roll before the robber is moved, and it also gives them the longest time to cool off, so they're least likely to make a revenge move. Also, you might get lucky and someone else might roll 7 in between, and their movement will almost always protect you from a revenge move. Well, that's all for this episode and my favorite game. I want to hear how you guys got hooked on gaming. Please leave your stories in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time on How Not to Play Like Will Wheaton.